Okay, in this video, I'm going to show you how to solve a quadratic equation using multiple methods that we've learned in class. So for example, if you were to get something like x plus 2 squared equals 9. Okay, this is just meant to use that square root method, okay? To get rid of a square, you square root both sides, okay? So I'm going to square root both sides. Then I'm going to get x plus 2 equals plus or minus 3. How do I solve for x? I would subtract 2 from both sides, and I would get x equals negative 2 plus or minus 3. Or my two answers here would be negative 2 plus 3, negative 2 minus 3, or simply 1 and negative 5. So this is solving this equation using the square root method. Keep that in mind. I'm going to keep 1 and negative 5 in the upper right-hand corner. And we're going to get those same solutions using the x method, completing the square, and also using the quadratic formula. Okay, so I'm going to delete this problem now. I'm going to solve the same problem, but just a different way now, okay, that we've learned in class. So the problem again was x plus 2 squared equals 9. Okay, now I'm going to solve it using the x method. Remember, in order to use the x method, I still need to get I need to get this somehow in standard form. I'm going to draw the box, okay? If I draw the box, okay, I need to do x plus 2 squared. Okay, you guys should already know how to fill in the box. I'm going to add everything together. And finally, on the left side, I get x squared plus 4x plus 4. Okay, so I'm going to replace x plus 2 squared now with x squared plus 4x plus 4. Okay, now I'm going to subtract 9 from both sides. And I get squared plus 4x minus 5 is equal to 0. Okay, so if you remember, whenever we have a quadratic equals 0, the number in front here is a 1. I can draw my x. The number on top is just the negative 5. The number on the bottom is a 4. And I need two numbers that multiply to negative 5 that add up to 4. And in this case here, that would be multiply to negative 5 that add up to 4. And that would be 5 and negative 1. So then the left side factors out to x plus 5 times x minus 1 equals 0. Set each factor equal to 0. And I get x plus 5 equals 0. Or x minus 1 equals 0. Or I get x equals negative 5. Or x equals 1. And if you notice, these are the same solutions as I got originally here by using that square root method from before. Okay, great. What's the next method? The next method would be completing the square. But remember, completing the square requires us to be more in this form right here. I don't want to do the box again. So remember, the original problem was x plus 2 squared equals 9, which simplified to this. And I'm going to use this version here, okay? So I'm going to erase all this up to that point. And let's say I was starting right here. Okay, how would I solve this equation using completing the square? So I would, again, even if I want to complete the square, I want to isolate the x terms. I would subtract 4 from both sides. And then remember, for completing the square, I have to add the magic number to both sides. So I'm going to half the middle term. And then remember, after that, you have to square that number. And that's the magic number that you have to add to both sides of the equation. Okay, so adding that number to both sides, now I'm over here. I would be getting x squared plus 4x plus 4 equals 9. And remember, after you add the magic number to both sides, then you have to make it a parentheses squared. Okay. And this is going to be x plus what? The inside of the parentheses right here is always half the middle term. Okay. And what do you know? That looks like pretty much what we did before. We get back to the original vertex form that we started with. Square root both sides. Solve for x. And again, we get -5 and we get 1. Okay, so completing the square, completed that. Let's do it using the quadratic formula. Okay, I'm going to erase all the work. Okay, how do we solve this using the quadratic formula? We can't even use a quadratic formula right now because the right side has to be 0. I'm going to subtract 9 from both sides. Then I'm going to get x squared plus 4x minus 5 equals 0. Now we have to identify our a, b, and c. A is 1, b is 4, c is -5. Then we throw it into this formula. I already know the answer should be 1 and -5, so let's see if this method works. Negative b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac over 2a. Okay, then I'm going to get the negative of 4 plus or minus square root b squared, that's going to be 16, minus 4 times a times c, all divided by 2. -4 plus or minus the square root of 16. What is this? 16 plus 20. 16 plus 20 is 36 divided by 2. That's going to be -4 plus or minus 6 divided by 2. Or I get -4 plus 6 over 2, -4 minus 6 over 2. Does the magic work? Let's see. -4 plus 6, that's 2 over 2. What do you know? That's 1. Answer that I expected here. I'm expecting the other answer to be -5, which, okay, it works out to -5 because -4 minus 6 is -10 divided by 2, and we get -5. Those are the exact same answers that I expected on the top that we got from the previous methods. Okay, I know that was a little fast. You can rewind the video to go slower. I hope that video helped. This should give you an indication that it doesn't matter which method you use. All the methods give you the exact same answer. Okay, I hope this video helped. I will see you guys in the next video.